Information on a cannabis company under scrutiny after the death of a worker at its Western Mass cultivation facility earlier this year. Good Thursday evening. Welcome to Western Mass News 11 at 11. I'm Mary Wilson. We've learned Trulieve will now pay more than $14,000 as part of a settlement agreement. Western Mass News reporter Lexi Oliver joins us live in studio with the details. Lexi?
Mary, we told you a few weeks ago, or months ago rather, that Lorna McMurrey died in the hospital in early January after inhaling marijuana dust while packaging pre-rolls at Trulieve in Holyoke. Now friends are speaking out, unhappy with this settlement agreement, saying it falls short. Trulieve, a cannabis company based out of Florida, has entered into a voluntary settlement agreement with the Federal Occupational Safety and Health Administration in connection with the death of one of its employees who worked at its cultivation facility in Holyoke. This comes nearly a year after 27-year-old Lorna McMurrey died in the hospital after she was having trouble breathing after inhaling cannabis dust while packaging pre-rolls at the Holyoke facility back in January. OSHA had originally fined Trulieve more than $35,000, but that has been reduced to $14,502 after two of the serious items in the citation were withdrawn. McMurray's friend Faith Torres saying this isn't enough, saying, quote, "This company doesn't understand the life they took from us. She was such an amazing daughter and friend. They took what was my best friend. This was someone's life, not just a machine or something small. She was so young, she had so many years left in life, and I don't see that Laura got her justice at all." The agreement is set to resolve the remaining citations and penalties issued to the company after the investigation into McMurray's death. According to OSHA, Trulieve has to design and implement a temporary information and training program that alerts employees to potential allergic reactions they may experience working with ground cannabis dust and provide steps they should take if they experience symptoms. Perform a study to determine whether ground cannabis dust should be classified as a hazardous chemical in an occupation setting according to OSHA regulations. And if Trulieve determines it does not need to be classified as a hazardous chemical, they will provide a detailed explanation to OSHA for the reasoning behind that conclusion. CEO of Trulieve, Kim Rivers, says in part, quote, "We are proud of the many protections we have already put in place for our workers. However, as an industry leader in what is still a relatively new manufacturing business, we want to continue to establish best practices so our workers can have the health and safety assurances they need." But Torres argues this comes too late, saying, quote, "OSHA should have already had CPR training and should have already had the extra training knowing it's a factory in the first place. Again, the fact that no one was able to do what was necessary to save my friend's life." The attorney for the McMurrey family telling Western Mass News that they've read Trulieve's press release and don't agree with their statement. Meantime, the study into whether ground cannabis dust should be considered a hazardous chemical is set to be completed by May 29th of next year. Reporting live in studio for Western Mass News 11 at 11, I'm Lexi Oliver.
Welcome to the Young Jerks. Mike Crawford here. Coming up on the 1-year anniversary. This week will be the 1-year anniversary of Lorna McMurray's death. We're talking about the Trulieve, talking about a lot of things that we've been kind of hinting about. Some things we still can't talk about, but a couple of things we'll talk about tonight, obviously. But there's news tonight. We can talk about the settlement, the OSHA settlement. Talk about the family. We could talk about this petition that we're doing right now. I'm really happy about the petition specifically. We just started a petition. I'm going to put that up on the screen, hopefully. We just started a petition, and it's already got over 100 signatures, and it's to protect the workers. It's something that we did for Lorna, in Lorna's name, keeping her name alive. The show tonight is about Lorna. I'll try to get that right up right now. Just started this last night. Mass CCC must protect cannabis workers. We got a couple specific demands here. We've already had over 100 people sign it less than 24 hours ago. Dear Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commissioners, after the death of Trulieve's cannabis worker Lorna McMurrey, it's time for the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission to make worker safety a top priority. The CCC must create a new worker safety hotline and fund worker safety surveys and education. Those are our easy demands for them. You can help us by signing it. To just sign the petition online. It does make a difference. It does definitely help. We know that some of the cannabis control commissioners definitely are supporting worker safety because of Lorna. We need all 5 of them to get on board, and this is how we kind of move them. So I want to thank everyone who's been signing it. People have been sharing it, a lot of shares, a lot of signing, and some people have actually even been contributing money through change.org to get it seen. They're buying ads through change.org so that it's seen more often and we get more signatures, which is awesome. I really want to thank everyone in the community in the last 24 hours. Check out the petition. Please support it. That's one thing I want to share with you tonight. And I want to thank you all for signing it, sharing it. People are still asking too, because we've been, posting this promotion tonight and the link to the, this whole petition. And a lot of people are still asking questions like what happened. I understand people don't know, but you should look it up if you don't. The short of it is that Lorna McMurrey was a Trulieve cannabis worker at a dispensary in Massachusetts, 27 years old, 2 ambulance rides from work, was having breathing issues. And then the second time she died in the hospital, never made it home from her work shift. And OSHA, this is the new news. OSHA ruled against Trulieve. Trulieve contested the charges, had 2 of them thrown out, made a settlement with OSHA to pay a smaller fine, but they're also agreeing to study this issue of cannabis allergy to do actually what we're asking the CCC to do, to have kind of Trulieve do some of this stuff on their own and to report the findings. I know a lot of folks aren't happy about the amount, which I get. I'm not happy. I wish it just should be a lot more than tens of thousands of dollars, but it's something. And it's big knowing that there's probably going to be a civil lawsuit, and this definitely helps the civil lawsuit, I would think. And I also think this sends a message to all the other dispensaries out there that this is on OSHA's radar now. 5 years ago, when we were first reporting cannabis dispensary workers coming to us by the dozens, complaining about toxic, unsafe air and work conditions that were making them sick, and no one was doing anything about it. We talked to OSHA. There were also OSHA complaints filed at New England Treatment Access, for instance. And we followed up with OSHA at that time after Ann Hassel had filed an OSHA complaint against New England Treatment Access in Massachusetts, another big dispensary chain owned by the Parallel, huge MSO group. And when we talked to OSHA, this was brand new to them. Now it's not. And you can see that OSHA is now stepping it up, asking for these places to do more. And it creates a written record. Do I trust Trulieve to run their own study? No. But they better do it the correct way, because there's going to be a lot of eyeballs. And OSHA, if OSHA's getting defrauded, I think I wouldn't want to try to defraud the feds. It's like when you're under audit with the IRS, the last thing you want to do is start lying to the IRS with your documentation. So they're under the microscope now. And this is what the federal government does. And generally, they don't actually, they make you disclose what you're doing. And if you're not truthful, then you're in big trouble. So this could be really good. I know that a lot of people aren't happy with the financial amount. I haven't even really talked to Danny. I was hoping to have Danny on the show tonight for the second time. The first time he came on was phenomenal. It was really when I think we broke this story through. It had already gotten suppressed, but when Danny came on, it was just like kerosene. He was such a great guest. He's a former coworker who actually helped hire Lorna at Trulieve, feels a lot of regret and guilt over it. He was a good friend of hers. He rides home. They were friends, and he feels a lot of sadness about this, but he's been amazing. He was the first person to sign the petition last night, by the way. He's the first person to stand up all the time for workers in this situation with Trulieve. So big ups to Danny. He's not feeling well tonight, so he's not going to be here, but he gave me a statement that he wants me to read. So I'm going to read Danny's statement here, and then I'm going to bring up a relative of Lorna McMurrey up tonight, and she's going to have some words to say as well. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Lorna's death, so this is definitely going to be a tough time right after Christmas, right after the new year. This is the first Christmas without Lorna, the first New Year's without Lorna, the first snow without Lorna, and now it's going to be 1 full year this week. So we send our best wishes to the family of Lorna. We are really, especially mom Laura. So I'm going to read Danny's statement. This is Danny's statement. Let me get the I'm going to remove this. I'm going to go full screen right now. I'm going to read Danny's statement right now. This is what Danny Carson, the former co-worker of Lorna McMurrey, has sent us for a statement to read tonight. And this is basically discussing what we talked about, the OSHA complaint and the settlement made between the federal government, the Occupational Safety Health Administration group there with the federal government that covers these things, their settlement with the Trulieve Corporation related to the death of Lorna McMurrey. He says, first off, $14,000 to Trulieve is nothing. Just yesterday, CEO Kim Rivers of Trulieve announced that they just received nearly $19 million in financing. This is another example how laws are not set up to protect people. They're set up to protect business. Second, I'd like to clarify that Lorna's family has never received a dime for funeral expenses or therapy expenses or for the loss of her only child. Nothing. And OSHA is the only government agency that's even fined them or held them accountable in any way so far. And they told me yesterday with the settlement that Lorna's life was worth $14,000. But sometimes what isn't happening speaks louder than what is. What isn't happening is the Cannabis Control Commission is not intervening to impose any fines or closures, and the CCC has not required any respirators or CPR training to ensure the safety of the rest of the remaining staff, let alone for the rest of the cannabis companies who remain fine-free for their employee safety neglect. So now you have a staff that has not only seen someone die, they have seen the safety manager be promoted. I'm going to just stop right there for a second. So I'm reading the words of Danny. I want everyone to make sure. I'm going to actually put the banner so people that are just checking in here. So this is the statement from Danny Carson, the co-worker and friend of Lorna McMurrey. I'm going to get right back into it. We're almost done to the final stretch here. So now you have a staff that has not only seen someone die, they have seen the safety manager be promoted. They haven't gotten a new safety training that we know of. And now the fine they receive in regards to a death of an employee is only $14,000. And the town licensing authority and the town have not stepped in to assist. A town in which Trulieve, among several others, have promised positive impact on its people in exchange for their being there and could close their doors due to almost anything else. Also a town that has profited greatly off of them being there. He's referencing the city of Holyoke, who have done nothing. Let's be serious. He's right on that. He's right on all of this. I'm going to continue to quote Danny. There's 2 more quick paragraphs here. This is Danny Carson, his statement to us tonight to read about the settlement with OSHA. He goes on to say, no wonder you haven't heard from any of the current employees of Trulieve about this incident. The ones who were in the room and watched as she turned blue. They're scared. They go into that building and they are not allowed to talk about this. They're not allowed to speak up, let alone speak out. So while some people may think that this settlement with the federal government, OSHA administration, is the resolution to this issue, and it's finished now, let me assure you it isn't. That's a great final point to rest on, because I think that's what the message on tonight is. It's not over. This is just the beginning. You know, Trulieve didn't win anything on this. The fine may be small. It'll maybe only $14,000, but they have to do some things, some actions that have to take place here now. OSHA is requiring them to do things. They're like on probation. And when you have a probation officer, there are certain things you have to do. and the study puts them on the line. And there's other things. You know, I noted that Danny made a statement too tonight that we read, that he said that there was no money for the grieving family. And that's from Trulieve. And that is true. Trulieve has offered them nothing. However, I do believe that there is some money that has either been sent or will be sent very soon for the mom. And that's in regards to workman's comp, the insurance. I believe that there is some insurance. I don't think it's going to be a great amount, but it will be something. So she's either received that recently or will be receiving it. And additionally, like we said, the long game, it's not over yet. Civil lawsuit, you know, she's going to be suing them. And believe me, that is in the works. I've looked at the law firm. It looks very formidable. They've been taking some steps. I'm well informed of what's going on. And I think that you're going to see some big things, whether it's this year, 2023 or 2024. I think a lot more justice is coming for Lorna McMurrey. And I think this is just the start. So don't get discouraged, people. And I want to ask everyone to continue to definitely, you know, share away and make sure you're signing and share it with your friends. Put it, you know, grab your friend's phone and make them sign it. The change.org petition we have for Lorna McMurrey and workers, because the Cannabis Control Commission isn't going to do anything without us raising hell. That's what we do know. And they are starting to you know, offer things. We need to ask for a lot more. I agree with Danny on that as well. So we're going to continue to do what we do. But I want to just ask people, please sign that petition. Go to that petition tonight if you haven't. We've gotten a lot of signatures over the last day, and it's very impressive to see a lot of people sharing it. And I really want to thank you for doing that. And another way, too, we have the New England Cannabis Awards coming up. This is an annual event in Boston, runs by some good people that I like. You know, they were associated with Dig Boston, a weekly print publication that I've written for over a decade. I don't write for them as much anymore, and they're not the owners anymore or a part of Dig Boston. They did a split when they started NECAN. They started focusing on the convention exclusively. But I'm not even sure who's running it now and all that stuff. But it's a locally based event, and I really have liked that event. But it's an industry event, and they're having the Cannabis Convention Awards this year, as they always do in Boston. And so this is going to be the entire New England cannabis industry, both, you know, small and large, and it will be a good night to make sure that they're aware of this issue and this story. And we're hopefully going to be planning to do some things on that night, but it would help us if we could get some nominations, both for the show and Lorna herself. We're suggesting that you vote on that. NECAN, NECANN.com is their website. Look for the, you know, New England Cannabis Convention in Boston, and then click on the Community Cannabis Awards event, and you can vote on the nominations right now. I would suggest voting for Lorna if you like. And everything I, you know, say about the voting on the New England Cannabis Awards, it's a suggestion, just, you know, if you think so. But I would suggest voting for her for lifetime achievement. I think she made a lot of achievement in the 27 years that she was here, and especially with what's been unveiled since then with her Facebook posts and how she stood up for herself and other workers. She deserves an award, and I would like to see her get nominated, if not win. We're also you know, often every year for awards at this event for Best Podcast, The Young Jerks, and often Best News Source. We've won both awards. I think like 1 out of 3 times we've been awarded, but we've won you know, we've won each. It was awesome. We would love to win more. We'd love to be nominated more. And it would definitely, I think, bring a lot more attention to this issue this year if we do get nominated. So please go vote on those things. My name is Mike Crawford. What I want to do right now is I think I've read the statement from Danny. I've kind of given my piece on what I think about OSHA and kind of the future here. I want to go to Alicia Nicole. She's Lorna McMurray's family, her cousin. Well, Alicia Nicole, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
How am I doing? Am I doing all right?
You're doing perfectly fine, Mike. You've always been doing great. Every time I listen to the podcast, you're always great with your words, with your statements, every evidence that you provide. You're a blessing to this family. You have no
Thank
idea.
you. Thank you. I wasn't expecting that because I meant like I don't know. It's funny because half the time I do this show, I always am exhausted. And tonight I have so much energy. I got sleep for once. It was like I haven't been busy the last day and a half. Finally, it was awesome. And I don't know. Now I'm like, this is different. Like I feel good, but I don't know. Am I doing all right? It's
You're
funny.
doing fine. It looks like you're ready and roaring, ready to go.
Yeah, I wonder if it's almost too much energy, baby. We'll see. I'll listen to it
Never
later.
too
But
much.
yeah.
Never too much. Most people can't put in a lot of energy or they don't bother to put in energy. But if you're ready to go, then I say more power to you because you're doing the great job.
Well, thank you so much. So what you were very close to Lorna.
Yes, we grew up together, and for the last 16 years, I mean, we've been talking. We talked on and off, but during the last year, right before she passed away, we were really talking every day. She planned on coming out and seeing my grandmother and I, which is her auntie, and she made plans for her birthday, which would have happened the next month, but this incident occurred, and we it took us all by surprise. Like 1 second we're sitting there talking to her, making plans, and the next day she's just not there anymore, and you're just kind of in a state of shock. Even up to this year, it's like I just expect her to text me back. Like I haven't seen her in over 16, now 17 years now. I'm never going to see her again. We played Pokemon all the time. That was our thing. Even her dog's named Evie. I was so proud of her for saying that. But you know, it's it's been hard this last year. It's you can't put a price on a life. And when you talked about that settlement, I'm just blown away by how these people can just try to settle for the least amount and then try to buy themselves more time by saying, "Hey, we'll put in a study for this." And I'm like, "What? Well, we couldn't even trust you to listen to your workers. You don't take the word of your own workers. You don't listen. So why should we hear what you're trying to say? You didn't hear my cousin, when she was gasping for air. You didn't have anybody there to protect her. You didn't even put in masks. You can't do the basic safety regulations. And we're supposed to expect you to, you know, keep your word on producing a study for like it's I just find it bass backwards is what I put it. Like there's no Lorna was a priceless person. Everybody will tell you that. Her friends, everybody loved her. She was doing really, really well. And I can't I can't even believe that they're just like, oh yeah, $14,000. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
nothing to you when you were just funded. What did you say? 90 million?
Millions. Yeah, it was a lot. I'd
That's
have to go
that's
back and look. Yeah.
nothing in a dent to that. It's like not even a half of an inch into that amount of money. And they're just I don't get people these days in business, I guess. Back there, it's way worse because I'm in California. We can at least talk to our employers. We can at least, not feel afraid about losing our jobs. And that's the big difference from Massachusetts to California is like, I would hate to live there. I couldn't imagine the stress that my cousin was going through. And then she had to deal with it because she loved weed. She couldn't even
Right.
smoke it anymore.
I know, right?
And
I'm glad
it's
you
like
brought up a good point that it's resonating. Yeah, we've got a lot of comments. I'm going to start post some of the comments, and just maybe some of the comments when we get back to things too. But like one of the comments I wanted to bring up right now is about what you were saying about how do you trust Trulieve now to run their own study? That occurred to me too, and that seems like what can they do? Like, because at this point, they got to do a lot to gain people's trust, even in the study, without people just laughing in their face, which puts them in a kind of a catch-22, I think. What do
well,
you
maybe
think?
they should
Is there
start
anything that they
providing
could?
masks. Like
Yeah,
that, there's a start right there. They still don't have masks, even. Everybody's still complaining about that. I mean, start with the basics that you're still failing to give. Provide people that know their stuff. Like Don't hire like people that just come out of high school because they're naive, so you can use them as a pawn in your production. That means that they just see their workers as expendable. I don't even call them Trulieve. I call them True Lie, because they lie about shit all the time. Like they don't keep their word. They don't do what they're supposed to do. You can't depend on them. They're just a bunch of liars that they see you as something to get more money from. And if you die, then they just fill in your spot.
I mean, on the cannabis space, they are known for being switched to the consumers. They're known for being sued by their employees all the time. And we got a Facebook user who made a comment. He said 100% would expect Trulieve to lie to the feds. Will be interesting to see. The outcome could be productive, could be enraging.
Well, it's already enraging, so I expect the rage to keep going, because it's just all they do is piss people off. They're just pissing off even the community. Why would you sell weed that has mold in it to people who have medical conditions? Like, what are you trying to get from that? What do you expect to be the outcome in the long run? If you're not doing your job right and you're not doing things correctly, you're not going to get the correct outcome. I mean, I don't get it. It's blowing my mind on how self-centered and stupid people can be, even owning a billion-dollar company. Like, it's common sense, and then there's greed. So greed overpowering common sense is just a setup for disaster. Like, how many more people is it going to take to die in this industry for them to get the basics down? They still don't even have the basics down. I mean, you gave a promotion to somebody who couldn't save somebody's life, and you're supposed to be a safety manager. Like, you don't even have CPR training. Why are you even a safety manager? That doesn't fly in California. You have to be trained in CPR. They provide you classes. They pay you to go. Like, why can't they do that back there? What's the problem?
Now I got to know that Trulieve does say they had CPR trained. They had people who did CPR on her, and they said that they were there. I've seen no evidence beyond their statements, though.
That's all hearsay. I thought they had cameras there too that was supposed to be filming the entire thing. Where's the camera footage? Show me that you gave my cousin CPR. Show me that you tried to save her life. Other than that, that's all hearsay, and I'm not going to believe a damn thing you said, because you're the kind of people that set her up in this situation and don't give a crap about her. You let her go through this, didn't provide her the safety equipment. I mean, and you... Like, until you give me an actual film that shows you trying to perform CPR on my cousin, I will not believe a damn word that you're going to tell me, because that is bullshit. If they had CPR, none of that would have happened. It's like, the first time wouldn't have even happened. They shouldn't have even had that problem. It was something that could have just been prevented, and they did not do anything to prevent it. So I don't believe anything that they say. Because they're trying to stick to the bare minimum about what, like, if you're a good person, if you're a good company, if you care about people, you don't settle for the least amount. You know you messed up. You made a mistake, own up to it, and do better. That's all you can do, is do better. Don't do worse. Don't be worse. Don't be greedy. It's just like the human dynamic of it is just all gone. It's just all money. And to me, it doesn't register to my brain, because money is not as important as a person. A person's life is not tallied by an amount of anything but their experience and the love that people have for them, not by a paycheck. It enrages me, because my cousin was priceless. She was one of the most incredible people you could have ever met. And it's like, they don't care. They're like, oh well, here's $14,000. Let's, we might conduct a study. I mean, if it's anything like the whole investigation via Zoom, then forget your study, because that's worthless. That is literally nothing. You're just trying to buy more time to get yourself out of it.
I want to ask you about the new petition that we put out. We've got a pretty good amount of people sign already. What do you think about the petition?
I think it's absolutely wonderful. My grandmother sent it to me this morning because she told me about it and the podcast. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm doing this. I'm currently at one of my friends' house, so I told them about the situation. They all said they're going to sign it too.
And we're getting a lot of responses about that. A person on Facebook called People Talking said, no, actually, they're on YouTube, said they signed the petition and it's great work. And they also said, let's get to 200 with this show. I agree. Let's get to 200 signatures. We're fast approaching that. Let's get to 200 tonight.
I like how you have 127 signatures so far. It's been 1 year and she was 27.
There you go. And I think
That's
we
how
actually
I'm
have a
looking at
few
it.
more than that. It's funny because they show up differently on the public versus what I see. So I think we
Yeah,
actually have a few more than that. But yeah, that's funny how it's showing 127 right now. It was
yeah.
27.
Keep it
That's
going.
my
Keep
that's
it
my
going.
actually birthday too, which is funny. Like that's the number,
Oh, oh, that's
Strange.
awesome. That
Yeah.
is, numbers are incredible.
Yeah.
My grandmother would
Well, let's
tell
get
you,
to
but
227 tonight.
get it up to 327. Get it up to
Yeah.
2,700. Something large number.
And people
Keep
can go
going.
there right now, change.org, and you can just go / Lorna McMurrey. You can find it easily. We're also going to put it in the description in our podcast. If you listen later, just or the comments, you'll find it. Just look for it. Follow us
I,
everywhere, and you'll find that link. We're sending it to everyone.
I got it. I'm going to sign it after I get off of here.
Oh, you haven't? I sent it to you. You should have it by on your Facebook.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking. I'm telling our audience too that doesn't get the Facebook message from me. But you should check your Facebook message. I sent you it there. Yeah, we have some other comments too. Another person on YouTube says you're doing excellent. Facebook user says you sound great, Mike. Wow, that's unusual. I don't know. I'm not paying these people. Another person, we get a YouTube comments tonight, which is awesome because a lot of times we don't. They write Reaganism kills. Another person from YouTube says the other is for 71 million. He's talking about the financing. He says there's 2 separate financing agreements, so it's actually more money.
Ooh. Okay, good. I was like, they should be sued by everybody that works there for not.
And
Just
this is crazy. I think we're actually getting Twitch comments tonight. We never get Twitch comments. Twitch is like, you know what Twitch is?
Yeah, I used to watch a lot of my favorite game players on Twitch, and I did do a couple Twitch feeds myself when I had an Xbox, but
So this is probably going to be the toughest comment of the night, right? This guy on Twitch says, I mean, rest in peace, Lana, but Trulieve has the gas. Are you kidding me, dude?
oh my God.
I'm going to say to this kid, world famous Tug Speedman, no, Trulieve does not have the gas. You're just have no taste. That's what I'm going to say.
Part.
As someone that has been a connoisseur of cannabis for longer than you've probably been alive. And I'm the dude. People give it. I'm the one who legalized stuff. So like, and I'm known for it. And I'm known for 25 years for doing this stuff. So you can't imagine the stuff that people give me and sample me. I'm like, I know.
I could
Trulieve does not have the
imagine.
gas, dude. I want to say to world famous Tug Speedman, find better cannabis than Trulieve because it's out there.
It's
And
true
if you're
life.
stuck in Florida and it's all shit, I get it, bro. I get it. But there's better cannabis even in Florida. I guarantee you.
No taste.
Yeah, he's probably a kid. He's probably like, oh man, this had 30% THC. It's the strongest shit. No, it ain't, dude.
Nope, not at all.
Nothing. It's shit.
Nobody showed you the good
It's
stuff.
probably got mold and spider mites on it. It's probably got irradiated. It's the sample that got tested for 31% was probably fixed and not even close to what you're smoking, dude. But
he must love the taste of lemon juice and baking soda.
But I hope the Twitch kids keep posting. I like the Twitch people.
I do too. They're very rapid commenters.
And here he comes back and he says, and people say weed isn't dangerous. That's true. Like, I don't think weed is dangerous. I think that in an indoor grow setting, it can be dangerous because we're dealing in massive scale production and a new industry indoors. And people are getting sick. And it's
Things are
from,
only dangerous when people put their hands on it.
yeah, it's not from the smoking. It's not from the consumer angle. It's from you work around it and breathe this stuff in
Yep.
40, 50, 60 hours a week. And it's not what we're smoking. It's a totally different thing when it's in a work environment and overwhelming like this. And it gets out of control, whether it be pesticide, whether it be molds, whether it be just too much particle count in the air, whether it be another one that we're hearing about now is cannabis allergy. People like me, I've used cannabis for decades. I have no allergy to it. I could start working at one of these places, and this is what some of my friends, this has happened to them. They'll start working at one of these places, and all of a sudden they realize they have some kind of allergy to cannabis, and it's not from their use of it before. It's when they
Exactly.
started working indoors at these places. So something's going on, yes. And that's a good question. I'm glad you brought it up, but we still don't know. That's why this needs more study. That's why we're talking about it, and I appreciate your question on that.
Well, when he said who knew that weed could be dangerous, I like to say, and this is a stupid comment, but I used to watch that show, A Thousand Ways to Die, and that could be anything. Like there's 1,000 ways to die from anything, and it's an old TV show. I mean, I remember seeing somebody die off of like eating one of those candy bead necklaces. Is one of the 1,000 ways to die. I was like, if that's dangerous, then damn near anything can be dangerous. It's just how you go about it. It's how you're around it. It's what you use it for. It's how you use it. It's all your choice in the matter. So if it's dangerous to you, it's dangerous to you. Sometimes it's not dangerous to other people. It depends on who the person is.
Exactly. And we have some more. I love his comments. I'm gonna keep posting them up because I feel like we're providing education to this. This is another
Education
one.
should be
You're right.
free.
Does Trulieve have any sales coming up? I believe they do. I think they're 30% off this week because no one wants to buy from them in Massachusetts anymore. He also says Trulieve has good customer service, and he says no question asked returns. Now I almost wonder if he's not like a truly corporate guy lying here.
That's what I was just thinking. I think he's
It's
fishing.
just the opposite of that, man. They do
I
bait
think
and
he's
switches
fishing.
to people. They have the worst customer service. If you go on the Better Business Bureau, I've never seen so many complaints from customers about a dispensary chain. Trulieve treats the customers worse than any other place. And
The numbers
mark
show.
my words. And I know this for a fact from inside their customer service center in Florida. The calls are coming from inside the building. It's so bad. So people who are getting a paycheck doing their customer service are sending me shit about how bad their customer service is. So maybe you're trolling. Maybe you're looking for info to expose an employee. Maybe you did something for the bad guys tonight, but that's the
I
truth,
think he's
buddy.
fishing. He's fishing.
I
He's
wonder
using
if he is fishing. So maybe we won't read any more comments. You're gonna have to prove you're a real person now, guy. So McCartney Ford, a real person that we love, who was also a friend of Lorna. She wrote, Lorna was a perfectly healthy 27-year-old until she started working at Trulieve. She quickly was diagnosed with chronic asthma soon after she was employed there. She continued to have tons of breathing trouble. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't bronchitis up until she died at the Holyoke Trulieve location.
Thank you, McCartney.
And she says Trulieve most likely has such easy returns because they are well aware their product is well below subpar.
Amen.
Maybe that's what McCartney, that's her guess, but I just don't. I've heard the opposite. Maybe they're doing that now because they got so much pressure on them, but I've heard the opposite for a long time, that they don't do any refunds.
They don't want their crappy weed back. It would make
Yeah,
no
they
sense.
don't want that
to
crappy
me.
weed back.
They're like, that means we have to give you back money. We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, McCartney. I always enjoy when she's on here.
Yeah. I was hoping she could call in tonight too, but
That would
she's
be
the best.
awesome.
Yeah.
She is. She really is. She's very helpful, and I'm really glad my cousin had her in her life. My cousin's talked about her, and she's always said good things about her, and I understand why now.
And McCartney had another comment. McCartney Ford writes, but as far as I know, they don't do refunds or exchanges unless it's damaged.
How is it?
Yeah, how can it
I
be
don't
damaged?
understand that. I was like, is it burned?
I don't think they do. I'm going to guess they don't do refunds from everything I've heard and everything I've read online. But I like trolls. I'm glad he's still listening too, because he's still commenting. He says he's vegan and he doesn't fish. And I'm assuming he's a guy. Maybe it's a woman troll, but usually it's a guy.
It's
But
a
I like
troll.
that little witty comment he came back with. He says he's vegan. I don't fish, he says. So that touche to you. Thank you for listening in the comments, because we usually
That
don't
was
get any.
good.
Maybe
That was good.
Yeah, ask more of your troll friends to listen on Twitch. We want your Twitch hate. We love that.
Haters hate what they can't appreciate.
Yeah, and he said he's not a real hater. He said rest in peace to Lorna on the initial comment.
He spelled it Lana.
Yeah,
He spelled it Lawna. So I feel like that was on purpose. It's Lorna. So
well, maybe it's because of the way I say it. I'm from Boston. I kind of fuck things up, maybe.
no, you're doing good. I remember that day that you had a call on the phone with my grandmother. That was very entertaining.
I'm trying to practice how to say her first name right.
Yeah, I was dying in the background. I was laughing so hard. I was like, he's doing it though. I mean, I'm proud of you. She's proud of you. She said the same thing when she heard you the next time you podcasted. She's like, he said it right. He said it right.
I still don't, even when I say it right though, I think I didn't. I'm like, oh my God, I screwed that up.
No, you don't screw up,
Just
Mike.
used to.
You do good things. You're not a screw up. You're a blessing.
Oh, thank you. It's okay to screw up though. That's what I like. As long as you're trying to get better, that's my thing for people.
Yeah, do better, be better, take
As long as they're not
initiative, and
malicious,
take responsibility.
If I screw up my show, that's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like
That's the difference
it's not hurt
between
that.
you. That's the difference between you and the people that you're talking about with Trulieve, is that you own up to your mistakes. They don't. They don't want to. They try to cover it up and not own up to it or not have to. It's not a human being when you can't say that I've failed or I've messed up.
Yeah, I agree. Especially in this type of situation where someone died and she was 27 years old and she was so full of life. And
I just turned 28 3 weeks ago, so it's hard for me to grasp the concept that I'm older than her now. It's always, she's like, hey, I'm older than you. I was like, cool. I'll see you in the retirement home. She's just like, shut up. We're only 10 months apart. I was like, yeah, but still, it's just, it bugs the crap out of me because she should have been there for her 28th birthday. I should have been able to see her. We should have been able to see her. I haven't seen her in a fortnight. She was one of my favorite people in the entire world. I mean, we fought like like siblings when we were younger. I'm not gonna lie, we had hatred towards each other over like toys and stuff, but looking back on it, it's like you miss that. You miss being mad at your cousin and saying like, that's my toy, don't touch it. And she's like, no, it's mine. I'm the oldest, I get permission. And I'm like, no, you don't. It was just a stupid kid dynamic. It was so much fun. And you don't appreciate it until it's gone. And all I have to say is that just whoever you love, just love them with all your heart until they're gone. Because you never know. Like, I was just talking to her, and then the next day she's gone. I'm still expecting that text message back. I write her all the time still. And like, I miss you. I wish I could still talk to you. I wish we still had that week that you were going to do for your 28th birthday. And now I'm 28, and I'm like, you're still 27. This isn't fair. Like, you can't, they don't care about people. If they cared, my aunt wouldn't be going through what she's going through. I finally got to talk to her. It's been so hard on her. She hasn't wanted to talk to anybody, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. She's grieving. That was her baby. That was her everything. They were best friends, and they were tighter than two peas in a pod. So finally getting to talk to her for Christmas and stuff like that, it was incredible. I haven't heard her voice on the phone in a few years, and we just sat there and we kind of cried. And she's like, you need to do better because Lorna wants you to do better. And I said, I am doing better. I'm doing the best I can because I miss my cousin. And she would kick my ass. She would kick all of our asses if we messed this up. She was a fighter, not a follower. And I can't even imagine what my auntie's going through right now. I can't imagine because of the holidays, and Happy New Year, and what a happy new year, huh? It's been a whole year and it's not, to her, it's not getting better.
It's not. I know. It's hard to what do you say? It's just there's nothing that can fill that in except hang on, and
Unless
keep fighting
somebody's
for your.
lost a child like she has, that's
You know,
the only time they can ever relate to her. And I can't imagine. I couldn't. It's hard enough fathoming not being able to hear from her again. But she lived with her. That was her everything. That was her everything. And they've done nothing to, help her grieve. They've done nothing to give her peace. They've done nothing.
McCartney writes, thinking of you, Laura and David. Another comment came in, condolences to Lorna's family and friends. And McCartney also wrote, she would kick our ass.
Yeah, she would.
Did she kick your ass? Well, what kind of, like you said, toys? Like, were there any specific toys you remember, like, that you fought
It
over?
was always Pokemon. It was always Pokemon. We fought over
Pokemon, yeah.
Pokemon. It's always been that way. She would get like shit when she would get some toys, and I would be jealous of her toys. You want to trade? So we'd trade Pokemon toys all the time, and she's like, I don't want that one. I was like, I'll trade two for your one.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And then she caught me playing with her Charmander one day, and she's like, that's my toy. I was like, it's mine now. And I ran to the pool. I jumped in the pool. She's like, no, he's a fire type. Don't do that. He'll drown.
Oh boy.
It was so stupid. We used to make mud pies in the backyard even. And I remember one day particularly there was a neighbor girl that came over that we disliked. Like we really disliked this girl. And there was a beehive. This is how kids work. This is how we worked. But our thoughts was I had this little playhouse in the backyard and its windows would shut. It was one of those Fisher Price playhouses. The windows would shut and nothing could get in as long as you barred the door. So we had this idea of tricking this girl that we hated to come house with the sticks, and we barreled towards the house. We got in the house and we locked her out of it, and she got attacked by bees. So
wow.
That teamwork.
Well, I think you're breaking up a little bit, Alicia.
No.
Can you hear us? So it was Lorna that got stung by the bees? Is that what happened? Oh, unfortunately, I think we did lose you. If you can hear us, try logging off and logging back in, and we'll maybe say our final goodbyes tonight or wrap it up. But I really appreciate you calling in tonight. Looks like we're having some sound issues right now. I'm not sure what happened there. You sounded so good through the whole interview, but I want to thank you so much for calling in, especially representing the family tonight. 1 year since we lost Lorna McMurrey. I want to thank our listeners, our supporters, all the people who comment. I want to thank everybody. Really, there's like a community of us now. OSHA has settled with Trulieve on Lorna McMurray's death. Under the agreement, Trulieve will undertake a study to determine whether ground cannabis dust is required to be classified as a hazardous chemical. Excuse me. But that's the headline tonight. I want to make sure people are following on that. They settled. We've been talking about that. We're also talking about it's been 1 year since Lorna McMurrey has passed away. We're also discussing that the New England Cannabis Awards are coming up. If you haven't voted on them, they're taking nominations right now. We would really appreciate you voting for the Young Jerks for Best Podcast and Best News Source. You could also vote for myself for Lifetime Achievement or Activist of the Year. But I would suggest, honestly, Lorna McMurrey for the Lifetime Achievement Award. And again, you can vote for who you like. There's a lot of other award nominations on the ballot. You don't have to vote for them all if you don't know, who to vote for. But vote how you like. I would definitely check that out. And if you like what we do, please give us the nomination vote. And the big thing, this is the biggest thing. If you could do one thing for us tonight, I want you to go right now to this website right here, change.org. Mass CCC must protect cannabis workers. If you don't have a link and you're not sure where to find the link, just go to change.org. There's a search button on the top right and just write Lorna McMurray's name in there, or Massachusetts Cannabis Protect Cannabis Workers. It will come up. You'll find the petition. Please sign it. Please share it with your friends. It also looks like we have Alicia back. Let's see if she's available to maybe make a final comment tonight.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's the internet keeps cutting out because it's raining down here.
And you know what? I just see in your chat, you just gave me the final on the story you were telling me that I didn't quite get the conclusion to about
Yeah, we made
the
it to
bees.
safety. Yeah, we made it to safety. The other girl did not. We had this planned.
So you guys did a kind of a bad thing to somebody.
Yes, we did. We were a team. I mean, we we could fight all the time. I loved her to death. I mean, we were kids, and now looking back at it, it's like I didn't understand a lot of things. Now that I'm an adult, I do. So I wish I wasn't as much as a jerk child, is what I like to say to my cousin, but we talked it out over time, and we were always close, and we understood that, even though we were far apart, we're still sister cousins. She always called me sister cousin, and I always called her sister cousin. And I told her one day, I was like, doesn't that sound kind of redneck? She's like, oh well.
So what would you like
But
your
yeah,
final
no.
comments to be tonight about coming up on the 1-year anniversary and with this OSHA settlement and with the petition we're doing? What and the family still having a hard time with this? What are your final thoughts tonight?
All I know is that it's because she's gone, it's never going to be an ended process. It's never going to be uh finalized, because just because she's gone doesn't mean that, you know, we can forget about all of this. My thing is that I don't trust Trulieve to pull their part in anything. They still can't provide the basic common safety equipment for their workers. I don't think that the $14,000 means anything in the face of the life of my cousin, because there's no price on a human life. People are not worth money. People are priceless. People are one of a kind. You can't replace them. It's not like they're an object that can be bought. It's just the dynamic of it doesn't make any sense to me. So, my final comment would be that if you have somebody you love that you hold dear, just cherish them, because you could you could wind up in this situation where you never get to see them again after so long. Just don't take things for granted. I know my cousin never did. She would always live in the moment. She always kept it real. Just be an honest person, own up to your faults, speak up when something's wrong, regardless of, in the face of adversity, always do the right thing. Always be stronger than what you think you are, because it could save a lot of people's lives.
Thank you so much, Alicia Nicole.
Thank you, Mike. You have a good one, and Happy New Year's.
You too. And then please send my love to your mom too.
I will. Most definitely. She's listening right now. I could tell you that.
She's awesome.
You're awesome. Have a good one, Mike. Thank you.
You too. Have a good night.
Good
We're
night.
the Young Jerks, and that was a family member of Lorna McMurray, Alicia Nicole. We're speaking to. I want to post another comment up here. This is a more honest comment about the Trulieve customer service from a listener on YouTube. He writes, Trulieve customer service is awful. They take calls, but you'll never get in touch with a supervisor. They make it impossible to communicate with anyone of importance, even if you're an employee. There you go. And that's the reality. I know this as fact. It's pretty funny that we're getting comments arguing about that tonight because it's pretty obvious that that is the real truth. My name is Mike Crawford. This is the Young Jerks. If you like what we do, definitely support us, follow us, subscribe to us wherever you're listening. If you're listening for the first time, make sure you're subscribing on YouTube and following us on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you're listening. You can also support this cause right now by signing the change.org petition that we have for it. Please check that out. It's change.org/Lorna McMurrey. If you want to find it directly through the link, please sign that. We've had a lot of signatures tonight, even during the show, and a lot of support there. And people are saying that they're trying to donate money through the petition, but it's not accepting it right now. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. I really appreciate all the people who have already done that. That helps spread the word even further. Hopefully that works out. Maybe try it at another time and see if it works, or maybe a different browser or a different device and see if that changes anything. I really appreciate everyone who's been supporting this, commenting on it, sharing it. LinkedIn has been huge. A lot of our new friends on LinkedIn. I want to thank all of you for supporting us. And the comments tonight on YouTube and Twitch were kind of interesting. Usually it's mostly just Facebook, but seeing a lot of YouTube and Twitch, I want to thank you as well. Continue to listen, support us, follow us. Please share this. But if you could do something tonight, share that change.org petition with your friends. Ask them to sign it. Sign it yourself right now. Share it on your social media. We'll be back soon. We've got a lot more planned. Some things we talked about tonight, like this change.org petition. We're working on the Cannabis Control Commission. We expect changes. This is right now an important time because the Cannabis Control Commission right now is coming up with their new draft proposals to change regulations. And this is a good time for us to get what we want. And even if it's only incremental, even if it's only a little bit, it sets the precedent. So let's do this. We know that some of the Cannabis Control Commissioners support us. So please email them if you haven't. If you want to do the easiest way, change.org/Lorna McMurrey. Please sign the petition. Please do that. All right, I'm Mike Crawford. I'm out of here. I want to thank everyone. Young Jerks checking out. We'll see you next time. I'm going to actually, before I do that and leave, I'm going to do another screen share because I want to present that video again that people may have seen on the front side, but not on the back side. So, or vice versa. I'm screwing up now big time, but I just want you to check out the video.
Information on a cannabis company under scrutiny after the death of a worker at its Western Mass cultivation facility earlier this year. Good Thursday evening. Welcome to Western Mass News 11 at 11. I'm Mary Wilson. We've learned Trulieve will now pay more than $14,000 as part of a settlement agreement. Western Mass News reporter Lexi Oliver joins us live in studio with the details. Lexi?
Mary, we told you a few weeks ago, or months ago rather, that Lorna McMurrey died in the hospital in early January after inhaling marijuana dust while packaging pre-rolls at Trulieve in Holyoke. Now friends are speaking out, unhappy with this settlement agreement, saying it falls short. Trulieve, a cannabis company based out of Florida, has entered into a voluntary settlement agreement with the Federal Occupational Safety and Health Administration in connection with the death of one of its employees who worked at its cultivation facility in Holyoke. This comes nearly a year after 27-year-old Lorna McMurrey died in the hospital after she was having trouble breathing after inhaling cannabis dust while packaging pre-rolls at the Holyoke facility back in January. OSHA had originally fined Trulieve more than $35,000, but that has been reduced to $14,502 after two of the serious items in the citation were withdrawn. McMurray's friend Faith Torres saying this isn't enough, saying, quote, "This company doesn't understand the life they took from us. She was such an amazing daughter and friend. They took what was my best friend. This was someone's life, not just a machine or something small. She was so young, she had so many years left in life, and I don't see that Laura got her justice at all." The agreement is set to resolve the remaining citations and penalties issued to the company after the investigation into into McMurray's death. According to OSHA, Trulieve has to design and implement a temporary information and training program that alerts employees to potential allergic reactions they may experience working with ground cannabis dust and provide steps they should take if they experience symptoms. Perform a study to determine whether ground cannabis dust should be classified as a hazardous chemical in an occupation setting according to OSHA regulations. And if Trulieve determines it does not need to be classified as a hazardous chemical, they will provide a detailed explanation to OSHA for the reasoning behind that conclusion. CEO of Trulieve, Kim Rivers, says in part, quote, "We are proud of the many protections we have already put in place for our workers. However, as an industry leader in what is still a relatively new manufacturing business, we want to continue to establish best practices so our workers can have the health and safety assurances they need." But Torres argues this comes too late, saying, quote, "OSHA should have already had CPR training and should have already had the extra training knowing it's a factory in the first place. Again, the fact that no one was able to do what was necessary to save my friend's life." The attorney for the McMurrey family telling Western Mass News that they've read Trulieve's press release and don't agree with their statement. Meantime, the study into whether ground cannabis dust should be considered a hazardous chemical is set to be completed by May 29th of next year. Reporting live in studio for Western Mass News 11 at 11, I'm Lexi Oliver.